I think there's a couple of things. So a lot of employers are moving to a pre-screening model where they do phone interviews. And I know from students this could be daunting and it creates a disconnect. So first, I'd briefly touch base on phone interviews, but one thing to be mindful of if you're a student and you're going to have a phone interview is to keep your energy level up. You're not interacting with someone. Pick a quiet room such as an office like this here at C's, your apartment when your roommate's not there. You know, dress professionally for it like it is an interview. It helps keep you in that mindset. You know, be on maybe a speakerphone so you get the effect of being there if you don't have great reception, or make sure to have good reception. Additionally, focus on as if there was a person across from you, and be as animated and lively as if, you know, someone was there. So a lot of times what happens in phone interviews, and statistics show the average person does not advance to the next round, not because they weren't qualified, but because they didn't sound interested in the role. So phone interview number one rule, just be excited to be on the phone with the employer. For in-person interviews, you know, I think our students have a very good handle on the technical questions they'll be asked. If they're applying to appropriate positions and employers are interested in them, you know, there are certainly websites like Stack Overflow that students can go to and see technical questions, or Glassdoor, or Wet Feet, or The Vault. But I would focus on behavioral interview questions. So, and before I even did that, I'd make sure to greet the employer, shake hands, you know, establish good eye contact, and match tone. A lot of, you know, what happens in an interview is a two-way conversation, and I would keep that in mind. But again, I would focus on behavioral questions. So a lot of employers will ask questions such as, how are you doing? Or tell me about a time when. These questions are not necessarily designed to get technical information on you. What they are designed to do is understand you as a person and understand how you will fit into their working culture and environment. So the typical question of, tell me about yourself, well, if you've already networked a lot and practiced your elevator pitch, that's going to be an easy question to answer. You're going to say, you know, my name is, I come from, my interests are, I'm excited to be here today because. That's going to mimic your cover letter, right? In a certain way. It's going to talk about the research you've done on the company. Typical other questions are designed for students to actually show their flaws. So we need to think about how do we change that. So the questions such as, can you tell me about a time when you worked with a difficult client? Or can you tell me about a difficult situation? Or can you tell me about a weakness you have? Now, what I notice a lot of students and professionals do is they say, a weakness of mine is, right? The question is not designed for you to answer that way. The question of you is designed so you say, a weakness of mine is, I like to really own any issue that comes my way, right? And that was a weakness of mine. What I really need to answer with is to understand the employer and to say, a weakness of mine is this, and what I'm doing about it is this. So for example, you might say, a weakness of mine has been time management, but now I make sure to schedule everything in my calendar, keep everything in advance. I have it on my iPhone. I've also taken a class in time management, and I've noticed within the past 6 months, I get more done in an 8 or 9 hour workday than I used to get done in a 12-hour workday. So what that does is show them that you're cognizant of things going on around you and you're addressing them. And that gives them a view into you as a potential employer. Additionally, when an employer says to you, tell me about a difficult situation, client, or problem you've had at work, it allows you to elicit, for example, team working skills, right? So you might say, well, I had a difficult client who was coming to our organization from many angles complaining about an issue. The issue came from my area. Now, if you stop right there, you've just told the client, the potential employer rather, this is a difficult situation. What you really want to say is, this is a difficult situation, and. And that and is always making a pivot to a solution and how you worked within that, and shows them what values you bring to their organization. So for example, you might say, in this difficult situation, I gathered all the key stakeholders that the client touches base with. I discussed with them our departmental strategy behind it. I asked they communicate the same thing back to the client. and then I worked with them to understand what we can give to the client within a timely manner that would assuage them, and then how we can move forward with them. So from there, you might be eliciting how you're thinking of the larger organizational context, you're giving leadership by bringing people together, and that you're really good at networking and team building.